Good morning, friends. Let us continue with the time, speed, and distance problems. Right. In covering a certain distance, the speeds of A and B are in the ratio of 3 is to 4. A takes 30 minutes more than B to reach the destination. The time taken by A to reach the destination is. Okay, this is a previous problem from SSC. The ratio of speeds is given. Right. And the relation between times is also given. TA is equal to TB plus 30. And the distance is same, right? So we are given all the necessary information. The times taken is given, the ratio of the speeds is given, the distance is constant. So let's equate. Distance of A, distance traveled by A is equal to distance traveled by B. What is distance of A? Speed of A into time of A. What is time of A? Time of A is time of B plus 30 minutes. Right, time of B plus 30 minutes. Let's assume T is time of B. Time of B plus 30 minutes. This is in terms of minutes. Ideally, speed into time, we should write in hours. Right, this is in minutes. This by 60 into speed of, let's say, if it they are in the ratio of 3 is to 4, right? The speeds of A is to B is 3 is to 4, right? If A is 3x, then B will be 4x. Right. That is in the ratio, right? So let's assume A is 3x, then B will be 4x. So the distance traveled by A, that is T plus 30 into 3x is equal to distance traveled by B is equal to T into 4x. X and X will get cancelled. By 60 also we have to write. By 60 will anyway get cancelled. So I did not write. T plus 30 by 60 into 3x is equal to T by 60 into 4x because T is in terms of minutes. Okay, 60 will get cancelled. X will also get cancelled. What does that mean? 3T plus 90 is equal to 4T. That means T is equal to 90 minutes. Right, that means T plus 30. T plus 30 is what is the time A is taking. A is taking 120 minutes. Right? T plus 30, A is taking actually 120 minutes. Simple, right? So whatever the relations are given, we need to be able to calculate whatever that is required by writing the correct equation. Here in this case, distance equal to uh, distance here in this case, the distance will be same in both the cases. Right? Okay, cool. Next one. In covering a distance of 30 kilometers, Abhay takes 2 hours more than Samir. If Abhay doubles his speed, then he would take 1 hour less than Samir. So here also the relation between speeds of Abhay and Samir is given. Right? How it is given? Uh, if he doubles the speed, then he would take 1 hour less. The relation between speeds and the combination of the times it is given. The distance is common, 30 kilometers only. So speed of Abhay into speed of Samir will be equal to speed of Samir into speed of Abhay into time of Abhay is equal to speed of Samir into time of Samir, which is equal to 30 kilometers. Let's assume time of Samir is Ts and speed of Samir is SS. Okay, this notation I am following. You are free to follow your notation X, Y, PQ, whatever. Time of Samir is TS and speed of Samir is SS. Now, what he is saying, if Abhay doubles his speed, right? Abhay takes 2 hours, 2 hours more than Samir, right? If Abhay is going at his speed, he is taking 2 hours more than Samir. That means S of A into time of Abhay. Speed of Abhay is S of A. Time of Abhay is 2 hours more than Samir. So at this speed, with this time, he is still covering 30 kilometers. Right. Now, if he doubles his speed, that means instead of S of SA, if he makes it 2 SA, 2 speed, right? Then he's taking 1 hour less than Samir, TS minus 1. So this equal to speed of Samir into time of Samir. Abhay's first speed and first time is equal to Abhay's double speed and 1 hour lesser time is equal to Samir's normal speed and time of Samir, all equal to 30. Right? This all equal to 30, right? Now let's take this first part and this third part. Speed of Abhay into Ts plus 2 is equal to 2sa into Ts minus 1, because both are Sas and Tss, right? So let's try to do this. Then SA will get cancelled out. Ts plus 2 is becomes 2 into Ts minus 2. Right. That becomes Ts equal to 2 plus 2, 4. 2s minus Ts. Ts is equal to 4. That means time of Samir is 4. Time of Samir is 4. Right. Now, let's substitute this time of Samir in something. Let's say, for example, first one and fourth one. Speed of Abhay into time of Samir plus 2. Time of Samir plus 2 is what? 4 plus 2, 6 hours. Is equal to this 30, right? The distance is anyway 30. So speed of Abhay will become 30 by 4 plus 2, which is 5 kilometers per hour. Right, here we don't need to do any by 60 plus 60 whatever, because the times are already given in hours. Right, we just need to write these equations properly. Right, there are different combinations and different combinations of speed and time. The distance will always remain same. That is the concept that we are trying to understand here. Abhay, if he runs at certain speed, then he is taking 2 hours more than Samir. But if he is running at double that speed, he is taking 1 hour less than Samir. But Samir is taking some time, which we don't know. Right. But whatever is the case, all these two people are traveling the same distance, which is 30 kilometers. Right. Next one. In a flight of 600 kilometers, an aircraft was slowed down due to bad weather. Its average speed for the trip was reduced by 200 kilometers. Right. And the time of flight increased by 30 minutes. The duration of the flight is how much? Okay, here also the distance is common. Distance is same. Flight, whether in normal conditions or whether in bad weather conditions, it still has to travel the same distance. It still has to reach the destination, right? It cannot stop in air. So it still has to travel the same thing. Bad weather, it will slow down, but still it has to cover the distance. Okay. So now what is saying? Let's assume its normal speed is some s. Its normal speed. Right. And its normal time is some t. We don't know what is the t. So to reach the destination at correctly on time, then it will need some time t. Right. Let's say flight duration is generally the promised duration is 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. Okay. If it is 1 hour or 2 hours, then that duration is 1 hour or 2 hour. Now with respect to the 2 hours, it should have traveled at let's say 800 kilometers. It should have traveled at 300 kilometers per hour, 400 kilometers per hour, whatever. Right. So there would be some natural speed. It has to travel at some certain speed to reach the destination in that designated 2 hours. Right. We don't know what is the designated 2 hours, whether it is 2 hours, 4 hours. We don't know what is the designated speed also. But doesn't matter. There would be some time and some speed which will sometime and corresponding to that time, there will be some speed which will make it reach the destination in that time. Let that be t. Right. Let the ideal time be t and ideal speed be s. Okay. Then that speed into that time is equal to 60 kilometers. So sorry, 600 kilometers. Now what is saying? The speed is reduced by 200. The ideal speed is reduced by 200. That means speed minus 200. And then the time is increased by 30 minutes. 30 minutes is half an hour, right? Let's assume t is in hours only. So t plus 0.5 t. And then this t also will be in hours only. If we were doing t plus 30, then t plus 30 by 60 we have to do. But in this case, anyway, we are directly taken it in hours. So s minus 200 into t plus 0.5 is equal to st is equal to 600. The total distance will remain same. So what do we do? Let's expand st plus 0.5 into s minus 200 into t plus 0.5 into 200. So minus 200 into plus 0.5, which is minus 100, is equal to st. First, this first and the second terms that we are taking. St and st will get cancelled, right? And then what do we know? S is equal to 600 by t. This also we know, right? From the second and the third terms, s equal to 600 by t. So then whatever that is left, we are trying to bring that into a single term, single variable so that we can solve. So what we'll write? S equal to 600 by t. So 0.5 into 600, which is 300. 300 by t minus 200 t minus 100 is equal to 0. Right. What does that mean? All zeros will cancel out. 3 minus 2t square minus t is equal to 0. What does that mean? Minus 1, if you multiply this with my minus 1, 2t square plus t minus 3. If you multiply this side also with minus 1, it doesn't matter, right? We can still do that. So that's what you will do. 2t square plus t minus 3 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation we have to solve. How will you solve? So we have to write this term plus t in such a way that sum of it will be 1 and the product of it will be 2 into minus 3 minus 6. Right. So 2 into minus 3. So this is anyway the solution. 2 into minus 3 will anyway be minus 6 and 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 will become 1. Right. That's what you will write. 2t square plus 3t minus 2 minus 2t minus 6 is equal to 0. T, let's take it common. 2t plus 3 minus 1 into 2t plus 3 is equal to 0. T minus 1 into 2t plus 3 is equal to 0. So 2t plus 3 is anyway giving t as a negative number, which we don't need. So the positive number is what we need. That is t is equal to 1 hour. So what does that mean? The ideal time it takes is 1 hour. Right, ideal time is 1 hour. If it is 1 hour, then what it means? Ideal speed is equal to 600 kilometers per hour, right? Right? Ideal speed is 600 kilometers per hour. Ideal time is 1 hour. Now what is saying? The time duration is increased by 30 minutes. And in this case, then time will be 1.5 hour, which is 90 minutes. Right? Okay. It takes 8 hours for a 600 kilometer journey. If 120 kilometers is done by train and the rest by car. 8 hours if 120 by train and the rest by car. It takes 20 minutes more if 200 is done by train and the rest by car. 200 is done by train and the rest by car. The ratio of the speed of train to that of the car is. So first thing, which is faster? Is the car faster? Is the train faster? We should understand this clearly. Okay, 120 kilometers is done by train. If the train is faster, then if you are traveling larger distance in train, your total time should come down, right? Because you are traveling on the faster mode for a longer distance, your total time should come down. But here in this case, if you are traveling for more distance in train, your total time is going up. Please understand this. So that means train is slower than car, right? Because if train is faster, then total time will be less. For example, if you have to travel between some part of your journey in flight and some part of your train, then it takes some time. But if you are traveling most of your part of the journey in flight, your time taken would be much lesser because flight is much faster than train, right? Let's say how to move from Bangalore to Amritsar. Bangalore to Amritsar in some part in train and some part in flight. If you go if you go Bangalore to, let's say, Mumbai in flight and Mumbai to Amritsar in train versus Bangalore to Delhi in flight versus Delhi to Amritsar in train. So the more distance you travel in flight, the journey would be much faster, right? Your journey would be much faster. The faster mode you travel, the more distance you travel, you would be much faster, right? Ideally, you want to prefer to travel the most of your distance in the faster mode. So in this case, if he is saying if he is traveling 200 kilometers instead of 120 kilometers in train, he is actually getting slower. That means train is slower than the car, right? Okay. Now 120 kilometers is by train. Let's say in the first case, what does that mean? Remaining 480 kilometers is in car, right? Right. That is the first case. The total distance is 600, so 4480 will be in car. Now, now is taking 8 hours. 8 hours means the time of train plus time of car is equal to 8 hours. Let's assume x is the speed of train and y is the speed of car. What is the time taken for the train then? The distance covered by train by speed of train. X is speed of train. So the time covered by train is equal to 120 by x. Similarly, what is the time of car? Time of car is distance covered by car by speed of car, which is equal to 480 by y. X and y are speeds of train and car respectively. So this time plus this time is equal to 8 hours. Okay, let's simplify this. Simplify this. 8 goes in both sides, right? 8 15 times is 120. 8 60 times is 480, right? Let's simplify this. 15y plus 60x equal to xy. Let's keep it like this. Now, let's go to the second equation. Second equation is saying if he is traveling 200 kilometers by train and the rest by car, 200 kilometers, same equation, we have to write. So, what is the time taken? 200 by x plus 400 by y. X and y are speeds of train and car. Okay, this is taking, then he is taking 20 minutes more. 20 minutes means one third hour, right? 20 by 60 minutes. 60 minutes is 1 hour, 20 minutes means one third hour. Earlier time it was 8 hours. Now it will become 8 1 by 3 hours, which is equal to 25 by 3. 8 3 is 24 plus 1, 25 by 3. So this is the second equation. Here also 25 will go in both the ones. Right? 25, 8 times it will go. Right? 25 by 3. We can still simplify this, right? 25 will go 8 times. And here it will go 16 times. And this 3 is there. 3 into 8 is 24y plus 3 into 16 is 48y is equal to xy. So we have got two equations. This equation from when train is traveling at 200 kilometers, when the train is traveling for 120 kilometers. Let's equate both of them because both are equal to xy, right? So 15y plus 60x is equal to 24y plus 48x, right? So then what this means? 60x minus 48x, which is 12x, is equal to 24y minus 15y, which is equal to 9y. What that means? X by y is equal to 3 is to 4. What is x? Speed of train. Speed of car is y. Right, x by y is equal to 3 by 4. What does that mean? If train is traveling at 30 kilometers per hour, car is traveling at 40 kilometers per hour. If the train is traveling at 60 kilometers per hour, car is traveling at 80 kilometers per hour. Okay. If you want, you can solve what exactly is the time also. If you substitute y equal to 4x by 3 in this equation, you'll be able to find out what exactly is that x, what exactly is that y. Okay, here it is asked about ratio only. So if you want to still calculate, you can always do that. Right? If you substitute this x equal to 3 by 4y here, or y is equal to 4 by 3x here, you will be able to solve this equation. Okay, next one. A walks around a circular field at the rate of one round per hour. Okay, very good. At the rate of one round per hour. While B runs around it at the rate of 6 rounds per hour. They start in the same direction from the same point at 7:30 a.m. They shall first cross each other at. Very good. This is an interesting problem. Please listen to it carefully. Okay. So A is traveling. A can make one round per hour. We don't know how big is this. How big is this round, right? Let's assume this is the circle. This is a circular field, right? We don't know how big it is. It could be 1 kilometer, it could be 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, doesn't matter. For now, let us assume it is 1 kilometer. Then I will tell even if you take 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, it doesn't matter. Okay? Just for simplicity, let's assume this round is actually 1 kilometer. Okay. Now, um, A is running at one round per kilometer. That means A will take one round per hour. So A will take one for this entire distance. He will take he'll take 1 hour. Now B in that 1 hour, B is actually doing 6 rounds per hour. So A would have taken 1 hour. In that 1 hour, B would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times. Right. Now they start in the same direction from the same point at 7:30 a.m. Both of them they started here. Let's say at 7:30 a.m. They shall first cross each other at. When will they first cross? Right. So when will they first cross? A would be moving like this. A would be moving slowly. B would be moving like this. B would be faster. And B will be much faster, 6 times faster, right? B would cross somewhere here, right? B would cross somewhere. Let's say what is that somewhere? We don't know. A is going this way, and B has completed a full circle and still would have met A somewhere here, right? A is slower, but B is faster. That's why B would have met somewhere here. This somewhere is where here or here or here that we don't know. Let's figure out. Okay, but we know one thing. What is that one thing? In the same time, whatever distance that A has traveled, right, this to this. Okay, B's distance will be this distance plus one full round, right? B would have traveled one full round of distance, and then whatever A has covered, then only B will cross A, right? B's distance will be A's distance plus one full round's distance. We assume for just for simplicity, one round distance is 1 kilometer. Okay, then A speed will come 1 kilometers per hour, and B speed will come 6 kilometers per hour. So, okay. So what we'll do, we assume the entire length of the circle is 1 kilometers. Then A speed is 1 kilometer per hour, B speed is 6 kilometers per hour. And let's assume they meet after T hours. Obviously, T must be less than 1 hour, right? T must be less than 1 hour. 1 hour, A only will complete the circle. T must be somewhere less than 1 hour so that B will finish one circle and then meet A. Right. B is anyway finishing six circles in 1 hour. So T must be lesser than 1 hour. It could be zero point 0.5 hour, zero point 0.1 hour, zero point 0.2 hours, we don't know. Let's assume that T, whatever it is. Okay. Then what is A's distance? A's distance, how much will he cover? If T is 1 hour, A will cover 1 kilometer. If T is zero point 0.5 hour, he'll cover zero point 0.5 kilometers, which is till this point. If T is 0.75 hour, that means 45 minutes, he would have covered the one, two-third, sorry, 3/4 of the circle. He would have come here, right? Whatever it is. But T, whatever, how many hour, if it is zero point 0.2 hour, he would have covered zero point 0.2 into 1 kilometer, right? Depends on that. So in T hours, he would have covered T into 1, right? Yes, distance is T into 1 only, right? If it is zero point 0.2, then it will be zero point 0.2 kilometers. If it is zero point 0.4, it is zero point 0.4 kilometers, whatever. Similarly, B would have covered how much in the same time? B would have covered 6 kilometers per hour, and if it is zero point 0.5, he would have covered 3 kilometers per hour. If it is zero point 0.1, he would have covered zero point 0.1 into 6, zero point 0.1 into 6 hours, right? Like this, 6 by 10 hours, 6 by 10 kilometers, zero point 0.6 kilometer, right? If it is if it is zero point 0.1 hours, he would have covered zero point 0.6 kilometers. Right. So A is traveling T kilometers in T time and B is traveling 60 kilometers, 6 into T kilometers. Now what we also know, B should travel, because the total circle is 1, B should travel whatever A has traveled plus 1 kilometer extra, right? Let's say A is traveling T kilometers, then B should have traveled this plus 1 full kilometer extra. Let's say A has traveled zero point 0.5 kilometers, B should have traveled 1 plus zero point 0.5. A has traveled zero point 0.1 kilometers, B should have traveled 1 plus zero point 0.1, right? That is T plus 1 kilometers. So A is traveling, let's say zero point 0.1 kilometers, 0.3 kilometers, whatever. B is traveling 1 plus that zero point 0.1 or zero point 0.3 kilometers. Okay. Now, then that becomes B's travel is 60 kilometers. Now, this 60 is equal to T plus 1. What does that mean? Pi t is equal to 1. That means T is equal to 1/5 hour, which is equal to 12 minutes. Right. So, what does that mean? A is traveling one round per hour. One round per hour. What does that mean? In 12 minutes, he would have traveled 1/5 of the circle. Right. 12 minutes is one fifth of the circle, because 12 minutes is one-fifth of the hour. Right. In 12 minutes, you would have traveled one-fifth of the circle. Now, in that one-fifth time, B would have covered how much? One-fifth into 6. In 1 hour, it would cover 6 rounds, right? In one-fifth hour, in 12 minutes, how much would it cover? 12 by 60 into 12 by 60 into 6, right? So 12 minutes is 12 by 60 hours. Each hour it is covering 6 rounds. So 12 by 60 into 6, that means it is 1.2 rounds, right? 1.2 rounds. Now A is covering zero point 0.2 round and B is covering 1.2 round, right? In 12 minutes. So B is covering actually one full round plus again another zero point 0.2 round. So here this we have discussed in terms of number of rounds only. One round versus point 0.2 round. Now whether this one round is 1 kilometer or 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, it doesn't matter. Right, just for simplicity, we have discussed each round is 1 kilometer. But if we had not done that also, okay, each round is 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. A is covering point 0.2 rounds and B has to cover 1.2 rounds. Okay, in whatever time, instead of kilometers, we can say A traveled T rounds. Okay, T is point 0.2. T is point 0.2 and B will cover 60 rounds. Right, that is 1.2 rounds. Understood? So now what is saying? If is they both are starting at 7:30 a.m., then the first time they will meet is 12 minutes later. Right? So 7:30 plus 12 minutes is 7:42 minutes. They'll meet at 7:42. Right, next one. A thief is noticed by a policeman from a distance of 200 meters. The thief starts running and the policeman chases him. The thief and the policeman run at the rate of 10 kilometers and 11 kilometers per hour respectively. What is the distance between them after 6 minutes? Okay. So, thief, the initial distance. So, thief is here, policeman is here, let's say. And the distance between them is 200 meters, which is equal to 0.2 kilometers. Right. Now, what is saying in 6 minutes? 6 minutes means 1/10 hour. In 1/10 hour, how much he would have traveled? How much he would have traveled? Right. He would have traveled, policeman would have traveled 11 kilometers into 11 kilometers per hour into point 0.1. Right. In the same way, the thief would have traveled point one hour, which is 6 minutes into 10 kilometers per hour. So policeman would have traveled 1.1 minus 1, which is 0.1 kilometers more, which is 100 minutes more. Policeman would have traveled 100 meters more. Right. What does that mean? Initially, they were separated by 200 meters. Now the distance reduces because he has traveled 200 meters, 200 meters more. The distance between them is 100 meters. Right. If he travels, if he travels for 6 more minutes, then he will catch him. Right. So there is another way which is called relative velocity. Relative velocity is if thief is traveling at 10 kilometers per hour and policeman is traveling at 11 kilometers per hour, then what does that mean? The relative velocity is this minus this. Both are traveling in the same direction, right? If then relative velocity is 1 kilometers per hour, right? And the distance is zero point 0.2, 0.2 kilometers. 0.2 kilometers by 1 kilometer per hour. Right. So that becomes point two at point 2 hours, which is actually again 12 minutes. They will the distance of 200 meters will be covered. Right. That is the concept of relative distance. Relative speed. Relative speed is when two objects are moving in the same direction, the faster one minus the slower one. Okay, the what you can simply do this 0.2 kilometers by speed of police minus speed of thief. So you can directly do that. We have done it a similar way here, but you can directly do zero point 0.2 by speed of police minus speed of this thing. That is 0.2 kilometers by 11 minus 10. That is equal to 1 hours. Right. This is kilometers, and that is kilometers per hour. So number of hours you will get. So 11 minus zero point 0.2 by 11 minus 10. This is equal to 0.2 hours. Zero point 0.2 hours is 12 minutes. Right. When both are traveling in the same direction. If both are traveling in opposite direction, what will do? The relative speed would be speed of police plus speed of thief. If they are traveling in the opposite direction. Then also 0.2 by 10 plus 11 it will become. Okay. Then let's see. A and B walk around a circular track. They start at 8 a.m. from the same point in the opposite direction. See, it is opposite directions. Now here we'll see. A and B walk at a rate of 2 rounds per hour and 3 rounds per hour respectively. Right. How many times they cross each other before 9:30 a.m.? What is the relative speed here? A and B, they are 2 plus 3 rounds. That is 5 rounds. Right. The relative speed is 5 rounds. That means every hour they will meet 5 times. Right. So they will meet 5 times. Then so at 9:30 That means it is kind of 1.5 hours. 1 hour 5 times, and the second hour it is 2 times. So total 7 times. Okay. Next one. Two cars P and Q start at the same time from A and B, which are 120 kilometers apart. If the two cars travel in opposite direction, they meet after 1 hour, and if they travel in same direction from A towards B, then P meets Q after 6 hours. What is the speed of car? Okay, you understood, right? So two cars P and Q start at the same time from A and B. A and B, let's say, at the same time. This is A, this is B. They are 120 kilometers. If they travel in opposite directions, if travel in opposite means P is traveling east and Q is traveling west, let's say. That means they both are traveling opposite to each other, right? Then they will meet after 1 hour. In 1 hour only they will reach. That means the distance traveled by P plus the distance traveled by Q will be equal to 120 kilometers, right? But if they travel in the same direction, then P meets Q after 6 hours, right? So Q is traveling this direction, P is trying to overtake Q, and P will take 6 hours to overtake Q, right? In that case, what is the distance between P and Q? Whatever Q has traveled, P would have traveled 120 kilometers more than Q. Then only he will overtake. Then only he will meet him, right? Because P has to cover whatever initial difference of 120 kilometers and whatever Q has traveled, right? That is that. Now let's assume the speed of P is P, speed of Q is Q. Okay, in 1 hour, what is the distance traveled by P? In the first case, P into 1, right? Speed into time. This is the distance of P. And Q, so what is the distance? Q into 1. So this is the distance of P, this is the distance of Q. P into 1 plus Q into 1 is equal to 120. Right. Now let's take the second case. The second case is they are traveling in the same direction. Then what is the distance of Q in 6 hours? It is 6Q. What is the distance of P? It is 6P. Now this 6P, it should be greater than 6Q by 120 kilometers. What does that mean? 6P minus 6Q is equal to 120. Right, we have two equations. We multiply 1 by 6, right? 6 times 1, and then we add both of them. 6 into 1 plus 2, which is equal to, so Q, this two set will get cancelled, and then 6P plus 6P. 12P is equal to 6 plus 1, 7 into 120, right? 7P is equal to 7 into 120, so which is 140. P is equal to 70. What is P? P is speed of first car. Right? P is equal to 70. And what is Q? Q is the speed of second car, which is 70 plus 50, which is 50. Right? 70 plus 50 is equal to 120. That means speed of Q will be 50. Right? This is also an easy problem. Again, two trains, two trains start from point P and Q respectively and travel towards each other at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour and 40 kilometers per hour respectively. By the time they meet, the first train has traveled 100 kilometers more than the second. Very good. This is a very easy problem. Respectively means, earlier also we discussed, respectively means P is 50, Q is 40. Right, respectively. Otherwise, we don't know. P and Q are traveling at 50 and 40 means P could be 40, Q could be 50, or P could be 50 and the Q could be 40. But once we say respectively means in the same order, we have to apply in the same order. P is 50, Q is 40. Okay. So now, by the time they meet, that means both have traveled for the same duration, right? Let the duration be T. Then P would have traveled 50T. Right, 15 to whatever T hours, T is with 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. Q would have traveled 40 into T hours again. Now the distance P is traveled more than P has traveled 100 kilometers more than Q. So 50T minus 40T is equal to 100. That means T is equal to 10 hours. 10T is equal to 100, T is equal to 10 hours. Total distance is what? They are traveling towards each other. They are traveling towards each other. That means P is here, Q is here. Total distance is P plus T, whatever distance traveled by P plus distance traveled by Q. So 50T plus 40T, which is equal to 90T, which is equal to 900 kilometers. Okay. A train M leaves Meerut at 5 a.m. and reaches Delhi at 9 a.m. Another train leaves Delhi at 7 a.m. and reaches Meerut at 10:30 a.m. What time do the trains cross each other? Meerut, it is leaving at 5 a.m. and reaching Delhi at 9 a.m. What does that mean? 4 hours it is taking. Similarly, from Delhi it is leaving at 7 a.m. and reaching Meerut at 10:30 a.m. So it is taking how many hours? 3.5 hours. First one is taking 4 hours, second one is taking 3.5 hours. Obviously, the train from Delhi to Meerut is faster, right? We don't know what are their speeds. We don't know what is their distance also. Doesn't matter. Let's assume the first speed of first train is x, speed of second train is y. Obviously, y should be greater than x. Okay. Now, what does that mean? This is x, this is y. So, okay. So let's say at time t, they cross each other. We don't know what is that time. Okay. This time, obviously, this time should be greater than 7 a.m. Right? Because till 7 a.m., the second train is not even starting. We know that the T is after 7 a.m. only. Okay, we know that, but we don't know what is that T. Okay, now let's say some time t, after some time t, these two are meeting. Okay, let's say the time is some duration. It could be after 4 hours, after 5 hours, not 4 hours. After 4 hours, the train will end. It will be somewhere between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. After 2 hours only, because till 7 a.m. this fellow is not even starting. So after 2 hours and somewhere between 4 hours because at 9 a.m. this fellow will anyway end. We'll see what exactly is that. Let's say let's that time would be some hours, right? Greater than 2. Now in that time, this first train is traveling how much distance? This first speed is x, so t into x. In that time, this time is traveling how much distance? It is t minus 2, because first 2 hours it is not even traveling, right? If the total time is 3 hours, then this train is actually traveling 1 hour only. This train is traveling for 3 hours, then in that duration, this train is traveling for 1 hour only. So t minus 2 into y. The total distance of this train plus this train is equal to the total distance, right, between Meerut and Delhi, which is equal to 4 into x, let's say. Or you can say 3.5 into y, doesn't matter. 4 into x, right? Now, what we'll do, this y is what? We know 4x equal to 3.5 into y, because the distance is same, right? Both the trains, the distance is same. Y is equal to 4x by 3.5. 3.5, right? Let's substitute that. Tx plus t minus 2 into 4x by 3.5 is equal to 4x. Then all x's will get cancelled. t plus let's just expand. 4t by 3.5 minus 8 by 3.5 is equal to 4. And if we simplify this, t plus t into 1 plus 4 by 3.5, which becomes 15t by 7, is equal to 44 by 7. 7 will get cancelled. T is equal to 44 by 15 hours, right? Here everything is in terms of hours only, right? T is the time it took for after the first train, right? After the first train, since after 5 a.m., how many hours it took for them to cross each other? That is T. The time traveled by the first train. T is the time traveled by the first train. Okay. Now T equal to 44 by 15 hours. What is that? 2 into 15 plus 14. 2 into 14 by 15 hours. 14 by 15 hours into is equal to how much? 2 hours into 14 by 15 into 60, which is equal to 14 into 4, which is equal to 56 minutes. After 2 hours, 36 minutes from A, from the first train. For the first train, they will meet. 2 hours, 56 minutes. What does that mean? 5 a.m. plus 2 hours, 56 minutes. It is 7 o'clock, 56 minutes. 7:56, they will meet. So that's what we had discussed, right? These two have to meet only after 7 a.m. and between and before 9 a.m. only. Because before 7 a.m. there is no chance. This train has to start. Then only we will meet. And after 9 a.m. also there is no chance, because the train has already ended, right? So 7 hours 56 minutes. 7:56, both the trains are meeting. Hope you understood this problem. This is an important problem. This kind of problems you can expect in these exams. Right. That is the reason why I have picked. I have tried to pick all the important problems, one from each variety, so that you'll get covered in all different types of questions that can be expected. Right. Please go through them. If any doubts, anyway, comment below the video. We'll pick them up again, and then we'll discuss. All the best, guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.